Hello everyone. I would like to introduce you to the so-called nixie-tube. Yes, I had this lying around in my hobby shack for quite a while, and recently I received some additional components required to light up this thing, so I thought let's make a short video about it. A nixie-tube, or the official name, a cold cathode display, is pretty much just a tube filled with an inert gas like neon, for instance, and then it contains one anode and several cathodes in the shape of different numbers. And when you apply electricity to it, the cathode will start to glow, and you can choose which cathode will glow, and therefore you can choose which number will glow or light up. So pretty much they are the predecessors of the modern LED, so to speak, and they were used a lot in the 50s and the 60s. I think they were invented around mid 50s or end of 50s. And after that, you can see them a lot in old computers and even some audio equipment as well. These days, they are hardly being made. I don't think they are being made at all, but you can find quite a few of them on the internet. And they aren't that expensive, at least not the small ones. These are quite small, and you can get them for around $12 to $15 per 5 or 6 pieces. But you will see that the prices go up quite exponentially as the size increases. So for quite big tubes you pay easily $70, $80, $90 per piece. But for me the small ones are quite nice. If you look on the internet, be sure to have a good look where you buy them, because there are some counterfeit models as well, which are simply LEDs put into the housings of nixie tubes, which obviously is not the real deal. So the nixie tube consists out of a cathode and anode and several cathodes, which can be controlled from the back. If you look at the back, we can see quite a few pins over there, and if we count the pins there, we can see 12 pins in total, so that's one anode pin, and then you have 11 cathode pins. And what you pretty much do is you put the plus to the anode, obviously, and then whichever number you want to light up, you short that one to ground. And that's how it pretty much works. So this specific nixie tube has 10 numbers, 10 pins plus one dot. So in total 11 pins plus the anode is 12 pins. So to light up this nixie tube you need high voltage, usually around 170 volts at least. So we need to work with high voltages here, which is always a bit dangerous. So if you want to try this at home, be careful, make sure you know what you're doing, because even 170 volts DC is not a very nice experience. So just be very careful and take your time, be patient, and then it should work fine. So this is my highly professional setup containing from left to right the nixie tube, which is attached professionally to a cup, so you can see the effect much better. And in the middle we have a breadboard, which I will use as a kind of a switchboard to ground the different pins. And on the right we have a power converter, which simply powers 12 volts DC to 170 volts DC, which will be sufficient to light up the tube. So let's first have a look at the power converter over there. It's a simple one. You can buy them everywhere on the internet. They cost anything between $6 and $9 or $10. And it's a simple converter which converts 12 volts to, in this case, 170 volts. On the left you see the terminal, which is a 12 volt input, the upper one, and then we have the ground, and then we have the 170 volts output. And for convenience, on the right hand side there's the blue terminal, which contains a ground connector and 5 volts out, so you can also connect a let's say microcontroller or something like this to this converter. Then there in the middle we have the breadboard, which we, as said before, uses a switchboard, and there we have the nixie tube itself. I attached it to a cup so it will be pointing upwards. I didn't have anything else, and I made sure that the leads on the lower side are well isolated from each other. So you see the blue one, which is the cathodes, and then you see the red one, which is the anode, providing the 170 volts DC to the nixie tube. So let's have a look at it, and let's just apply some electricity to it, and then let's see what happens to the different cathodes when we ground them. So I switched on the power. It's now active, providing 170 volts. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to short a random cathode to ground, and then the nixie-tube should light up if everything runs fine. Let's have a look. And there you see it lights up, in this case the number 7, and looks how beautiful it looks like. The really nice glow, the typical nixie glow we can see here. And that is just one of the cathodes. If we select another cathode, let's try this one, we get the number 2. Looks as nice as the 7 in my opinion. And then if we go even further, we should see the number 6 over there. Yeah, that's the number 6. And the last cathode I connected was the number 8. Beautiful, if you ask me. Yeah, that's typical of these nixie, the really beautiful orange glow that comes out of it. It's really unique in my opinion. And yeah, you can use it for a lot of purposes. You can use it, let's say, as indicators. So a lot of people are making clocks of it, or counters, something like that. I personally are thinking about making a nixie clock, but I'm missing some components. Because to do that you require a special chip, driver chip that is able to withstand the high voltages, because if you want to control it with, let's say, an Arduino or another microcontroller, they can only deal with 5 volts and you will destroy them immediately. So you need some kind of buffer or thing in between that will deal with grounding the pins for you. You could still do it with some MOSFETs and stuff, but then you probably end up with like 50 or 60 pins to run a decent clock on an Arduino, and that's not really practicable. So I will order these chips and then I will attempt to make a clock out of it, which I think will look really beautiful. So that was pretty much my demonstration of the nixie-tube I have lying around here. I hope you enjoyed this short video, and hopefully you can do something with it yourself. Have a nice day and stay safe. Thanks.